I'm Stuart McIntosh with the BBC News. Hello. President Emmanuel Macron has condemned the fatal shooting of 3 people in central Paris as an odious attack on the Kurdish people of France. The authorities say the attacker was a 69-year-old Frenchman. Hugh Schofield reports.
Members of the city's Turkish-Kurdish community were angry and distraught at the news. They began throwing projectiles at police at the scene, who responded with tear gas, and a tense standoff lasted into the evening. Just before midday, the killer drew out a handgun and began firing outside a Kurdish community centre on the Rue d'Enghien. He was overpowered and taken into custody. This evening, the area remains tense, many in the Kurdish community here accusing the French government of failing to protect them.
The US House of Representatives has approved a vast spending programme averting a federal government shutdown with only hours to spare. The Senate gave its approval to the $1.7 trillion bill on Thursday. Anthony Zerker is in Washington.
The 2023 U.S. budget, approved by the House of Representatives in a 225 to 201 vote, spends nearly $773 billion on domestic social programs and $850 billion on the U.S. national defense. The legislation includes new spending on health care programs, $45 billion in aid to Ukraine, protections for pregnant women and new mothers in the workforce, and reforms to make challenging the certification of presidential elections more difficult. President Joe Biden called the massive bill proof that Republicans and Democrats can work together.
Hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses in the United States are without power as an intense winter storm sweeps across much of the country. Large numbers of people across the border in Canada have also been affected. Rapidly plunging temperatures, heavy snow and fierce winds have complicated the plans of many people travelling at the start of the Christmas holiday. The Governor of New York State, Kathy Hochul, had this warning.
The flash freeze and the icy roads are not going anywhere soon. This is going to be an event that's going to continue through the weekend, and the wind chills are going to be absolutely bone-chilling. My message for New Yorkers is simple. This is a life-threatening, dangerous event. Protect yourselves, protect your families. Do not travel until the roads are reopened, that you know it's safe.
An investigation into the deaths of 23 African migrants trying to cross into Spain's North African enclave of Melilla has been closed. Spain's public prosecutor's office said no evidence had been found of criminal wrongdoing by Spanish security forces. The tragedy happened in June when about 2,000 migrants tried to scale the fence surrounding Melilla, Africa's only land border with the EU. Some died falling from the high security fence. This is the World News from the BBC. Ethiopian investigators have completed their final report into an Ethiopian Airlines crash nearly 4 years ago, which led to the worldwide grounding of Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. All 157 people on board were killed. Kaldikan Yibeltal has more details.
It took 6 minutes from takeoff for flight ET302 to nosedive outside Addis Ababa in March 2019 and kill everybody on board. 5 months earlier, another flight of the same model Boeing 737 MAX aircraft crashed in Indonesia. The final report released on Friday in Addis Ababa said the plane's sensor failed and sent faulty data to the flight control system, causing the accident.
A court in northern India has granted bail to a journalist, Sadiq Kapan, arrested more than 2 years ago while on his way to cover an alleged rape and murder of a woman. The Muslim journalist was first arrested in October 2020 in Uttar Pradesh, which is run by the Hindu nationalist BJP. He was charged with intending to start a riot and to create communal disharmony. Luxembourg has expressed concerns to Iran over fears that one of its citizens may be facing execution there. The individual concerned has been described as a Luxembourg resident of Iranian origin. It's believed the person may have been arrested and sentenced to death after taking part in anti-government protests. A Canadian government survey says one of the best-known polar bear populations in the world is in serious decline. Almost certainly as a result of climate change. The number of polar bears living in Canada's western Hudson Bay has plummeted by 27% in just 5 years. The Arctic is warming much faster than the rest of the world, meaning the sea ice on which the creature depends for hunting forms later and melts sooner every year. And that is the latest World News from the BBC.